Every morning, millions of people over 60 do the same thing. The alarm goes off, or the light comes through the window, and they swing their legs over the side of the bed, stand up, walk to the kitchen, pour a cup of coffee, and start their day. It sounds completely harmless. It sounds like what everyone does. But from a cardiac standpoint, those first 30 to 60 minutes after you wake up are the most dangerous minutes of your entire day. And the way most people over 60 handle those minutes is quietly putting their heart and brain at serious risk. This is not speculation. This is one of the most consistently documented findings in cardiovascular medicine. Heart attacks, strokes, sudden cardiac death, and dangerous arrhythmias all follow a circadian pattern. They all peak between 6 o'clock in the morning and noon. That window, the first few hours after waking, is when the cardiovascular system is under the most stress, the most vulnerable, and the least protected. And what shocks most of my patients when I explain this to them is that the things they do during those hours, the habits that feel perfectly ordinary, are compounding that risk in ways they have never been told. I'm Dr. Kevin Attewell. I'm a cardiac surgeon. I've spent over 20 years repairing the damage that happens during those morning hours. Hearts that stopped at 7 o'clock in the morning, strokes that arrived at breakfast, families in waiting rooms before the sun was fully up, trying to understand how someone who was fine at dinner the night before was in surgery by dawn. Tonight, I'm going to walk you through what is actually happening inside your body when you wake up, why the morning is so dangerous after 60, and the 5 specific habits that millions of seniors need to change starting tomorrow morning. Stay with me. This could be the most important morning routine you ever learn. The biological storm you never feel here is what most people do not understand. Waking up is not a gentle process for your cardiovascular system. It is an emergency mobilization. While you sleep, your body is in recovery mode. Blood pressure drops, heart rate slows. The nervous system is running in its calm parasympathetic state. Everything is dialed down. Then you wake up, and within minutes, the body launches a coordinated physiological surge. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, spikes sharply. The sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight system, takes over. Adrenaline and noradrenaline flood the bloodstream. Heart rate accelerates. Blood vessels constrict. Blood pressure climbs steeply, sometimes by 20 to 40 millimeters of mercury or more within the first 2 hours of waking. But it does not stop there. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine has shown that platelet aggregation, the tendency of blood cells to clump together and form clots, increases significantly between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning. That window was the only interval in the 24-hour cycle during which platelet aggregability increased this dramatically. At the same time, the body's clot-dissolving mechanisms are at their weakest. A protein called PAI-1, which inhibits the breakdown of blood clots, reaches its circadian peak around 6:30 in the morning, right at the start of this danger window. Meanwhile, the lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, has reduced capacity to produce nitric oxide in the early morning. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells your arteries to relax and dilate. Without adequate production, the vessels are stiffer, more resistant, less able to accommodate the sudden surge in pressure. So let me paint the full picture. In the morning, your blood pressure is surging. Your heart rate is accelerating. Your blood is thicker and more prone to clotting. Your body's ability to dissolve clots is suppressed. Your arteries are stiffer and less able to dilate. And all of this is happening simultaneously and in the same 2-hour window, every single morning. For a young, healthy person with clean arteries and flexible vessels, this storm passes without incident. The body adapts. The systems compensate. But for a person over 60 with any degree of arterial stiffness, plaque buildup, or hypertension, this storm is hitting a system that has far less capacity to absorb the blow. And every poor habit during this window adds another layer of stress to a system that is already running at its limit. A landmark prospective study in elderly hypertensive patients found that a 10-millimeter increase in the morning systolic blood pressure surge was associated with a 22% increase in stroke risk. The morning systolic blood pressure was the single strongest independent predictor of stroke among all blood pressure measurements, stronger than 24-hour average, stronger than nighttime readings, stronger than clinic measurements. The morning is not just another part of the day. It is a cardiovascular event in itself. Habit 1. Jumping out of bed. Let me start with the most basic one, because it is also the most dangerous. When you lie flat for 7 or 8 hours, approximately 800 milliliters of blood pools in the lower half of your body. Your cardiovascular system is adapted to this horizontal distribution. When you suddenly stand up, gravity pulls that blood downward. Your brain, your heart, Every organ above your waist needs the body to rapidly compensate by constricting blood vessels and increasing heart rate to push blood back upward. In a person over 60, this compensatory response is slower and less reliable. The baroreceptors, the sensors in your major arteries that detect drops in pressure, have stiffened with age. The blood vessels respond more sluggishly. Many blood pressure medications, particularly those taken at night, are at their peak effect in the early morning hours, further reducing the body's ability to respond. The result is orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure upon standing. It causes dizziness, lightheadedness, blurred vision, and in serious cases, fainting. It becomes more common as people age and is significantly worse in the morning than at any other time of day. Falls from orthostatic hypotension are a leading cause of fractures and head injuries in older adults, but the cardiovascular consequences go beyond falling. The sudden hemodynamic shift of standing abruptly stresses the heart at the exact moment when blood is thickest, clotting risk is highest, and arterial stiffness is greatest. The fix takes 60 seconds. When you wake up, do not stand immediately. Sit on the edge of the bed for 30 to 60 seconds. Flex your ankles. Clench and release your calf muscles. Let your blood pressure adjust to the vertical position before you put weight on your feet. This is not a wellness tip. This is hemodynamic safety. It costs you 1 minute, and it significantly reduces the stress on your cardiovascular system at its most vulnerable moment. Habit 2. Going straight to coffee. This one surprises almost every patient I mention it to. You have just spent 7 or 8 hours without drinking a single drop of water. During those hours, your body continued to lose fluid through breathing, perspiration, and kidney function. By the time you wake up, you are in a state of mild dehydration. Your blood volume is reduced. Your blood viscosity, its thickness, is measurably increased. Now, at this exact moment, when your blood is at its thickest, your clotting factors are at their most active, and your arteries are at their stiffest. What do millions of people over 60 do? They pour a cup of coffee and drink it before anything else. Caffeine is a stimulant. It activates the sympathetic nervous system. It increases catecholamine release. It transiently elevates blood pressure. It promotes vasoconstriction. And it acts as a mild diuretic, which means it promotes further fluid loss from a body that is already dehydrated. So you are layering caffeine, a vasoconstrictor and stimulant, on top of the body's natural morning cortisol surge, on top of overnight dehydration, on top of increased blood viscosity, on top of peak platelet aggregation. You are adding fuel to every single fire that is already burning. I am not telling you to give up coffee. I am telling you to drink a full glass of water first, before the coffee, before anything else. Rehydrate the blood, reduce the viscosity, give the cardiovascular system the fluid it needs to handle the morning surge safely. Then, after 15 to 20 minutes, enjoy your coffee. That sequence, water first and coffee second, is one of the simplest and most impactful changes you can make to your morning routine. Habit 3. Ignoring the morning blood pressure. Here is something that should concern every person over 60 who takes blood pressure medication. The morning is when your blood pressure is most likely to be dangerously elevated. And it is also the time when most people never check it. Most people measure their blood pressure at their doctor's office. In the afternoon, after sitting calmly in a waiting room. That reading tells you very little about what is happening in the critical morning window, when strokes actually occur. Research has shown that morning blood pressure, measured within the first 2 hours of waking, is the strongest predictor of cardiovascular events in elderly hypertensive patients. In many cases, patients whose blood pressure appears well controlled in the afternoon have significantly elevated readings in the morning. This condition is called morning hypertension, and it is one of the most underdiagnosed patterns in cardiology. If you take blood pressure medication, one of the most important things you can do is check your blood pressure at home in the morning, within 30 minutes to an hour of waking, before you take your medication. Write down the numbers. Bring them to your next appointment. If your morning readings are consistently above 140 systolic, that is information your doctor needs. It may mean your medication timing needs to change. It may mean your current regimen is wearing off too soon. It may mean you need a longer-acting formulation that covers the morning danger window. That 5-minute habit of checking your blood pressure in the morning is worth more than 100 afternoon readings in a doctor's office. Habit 4. Morning exertion too early. Physical activity is one of the best things you can do for your heart. I recommend it to every patient I see, but the timing matters. And for people over 60, the first hour after waking is the wrong time for intense physical exertion. Remember what I described earlier. In the morning, your blood is thicker. Your platelets are more active. Your blood pressure is surging. Your arteries are stiffer and less able to dilate. Your body's clot-dissolving mechanisms are suppressed. This is not the time to shovel snow, carry heavy groceries, climb stairs rapidly, or launch into intense exercise without preparation. Studies have confirmed that the circadian pattern persists even after controlling for physical and mental activity, but exertion amplifies the risk. Research has shown that high levels of physical activity were significantly more likely to trigger ischemic episodes, periods of reduced blood flow to the heart, during the morning hours than at any other time of day. This does not mean you should avoid morning exercise entirely. It means you should ease into it. Wake up slowly. Hydrate. Give yourself 30 to 60 minutes before any significant physical demand. Start with gentle movement, walking, stretching, light activity. Let the cardiovascular system complete its transition from sleep mode to activity mode before you ask it to perform at high intensity. The window of highest risk is the first 60 to 90 minutes after waking. Respect that window. Your heart will thank you. Habit 5. Skipping breakfast or eating the wrong one. This one is underappreciated, and the mechanism is straightforward. After a full night of fasting, your blood sugar is at its lowest. For people with diabetes or prediabetes, which includes a very large percentage of adults over 60, the morning is also when hormones like cortisol and glucagon are driving blood sugar up in what is known as the dawn phenomenon. Skipping breakfast extends the fasting state, keeps blood sugar unstable, and prolongs the period during which the body is operating without adequate fuel. But the opposite extreme is also a problem. A large, heavy, high-carbohydrate breakfast triggers a rapid insulin response, which can cause a sharp drop in blood pressure as blood is redirected to the digestive system. This is called postprandial hypotension, and it is another cause of dizziness and falls in older adults, often occurring within 15 to 45 minutes after a large meal. The solution is moderate. A light, balanced breakfast with protein, healthy fats, and moderate carbohydrates, eaten within an hour or so of waking, stabilizes blood sugar, supports blood pressure regulation, and provides the body with the fuel it needs to manage the morning transition safely. The heart-safe morning routine. Let me put this all together, because when you look at these 5 habits side by side, what you actually have is a simple, practical morning routine that addresses every one of the physiological risks I've described. When you wake up, stay in bed for a moment. Do not leap to your feet. Sit on the edge of the bed for 30 to 60 seconds. Move your ankles. Flex your calves. Let your blood redistribute. Next, drink a full glass of water. Before coffee. Before anything else. This is the single most important thing you do in the first 5 minutes of your day. You are rehydrating your blood, reducing its viscosity, and giving your kidneys and your cardiovascular system the fluid they need to manage the morning surge. Then, check your blood pressure. It takes 2 minutes. Sit quietly, cuff on, take a reading, write it down. Over time, those morning numbers will give you and your doctor more useful information than any other measurement you could take. Now have your coffee if you want it. Take your medications. Eat a moderate, balanced breakfast. And for the next 60 to 90 minutes, keep your physical activity gentle. Walk, stretch, move your body without demanding peak performance from it. Save the heavy lifting, the fast walking, the vigorous exercise for later in the morning or the afternoon, after your cardiovascular system has fully transitioned out of its vulnerable window. That is the routine. It takes no extra time. It costs you nothing. It requires no equipment, no prescriptions, no dramatic lifestyle changes. It simply respects the biology of what your body is going through every single morning. What I have seen, I want to be honest with you for a moment. Not as a content creator, as a surgeon. I have operated on hearts that failed at 7 in the morning, damaged by clots that formed in the early hours while the blood was thick and the clot-dissolving system was suppressed. I have spoken to families who found their loved one collapsed on the bathroom floor, minutes after getting out of bed. I have read the ambulance reports that arrived at 6:30 in the morning and knew, before I even opened them, what the timing would tell me. The morning is not random. The morning is where decades of accumulated risk meets a biological vulnerability window that most people have never been told about. And the habits that compound that risk, the jumping out of bed, the dehydration, the caffeine on an empty and dry vascular system, the unmonitored blood pressure, the early exertion, these are not exotic risk factors. They are the background noise of millions of ordinary mornings. You now know what is happening inside your body during those hours. You now know what to do differently. The question is whether you will actually do it tomorrow morning. Tell me in the comments below, What does your morning look like right now? Do you jump out of bed? Do you go straight to coffee? Have you ever checked your blood pressure within the first hour of waking? I want to hear from you, because I suspect that most of you will recognize at least 2 or 3 of these habits in yourselves. If this video gave you something useful, share it. There is someone in your life, a spouse, a parent, a friend over 60, who starts every morning walking straight into the danger zone without knowing it. Send this to them. That share could genuinely change an outcome. Take care of that heart. It has been waking up with you every single morning of your life. Give it the conditions it needs to keep doing that safely. One last thing. Everything I've shared here is general medical information based on current cardiovascular research and my own clinical experience. It is not a substitute for your personal medical care. Before you make changes to your medication schedule, your exercise routine, or your blood pressure monitoring, please talk to your own physician. That's not a legal disclaimer. That's genuine advice from someone who wants you here, watching this channel, healthy and well, for many mornings to come. Good morning. Take it slowly. Take care of yourself.